Hello and welcome to the Coffee Club. I am Marjorie Haynes, here with Streator City Manager David Plyman. Hello, David.
Well, hi. How are you?
I'm good. We're going to jump right in, and one of the questions we've been getting is about the Gautchy side. Is there any movement on that, or what's the update?
Well, there's a development company out of the suburbs of Chicago that purchased a property. The city entered into a development agreement with them, $30,000, which mirrored what we do for facades on corner lots, facade grant. And I believe the project is proceeding. The mayor has reached out to them. We've held back. We haven't actually awarded the $30,000 yet because we're waiting for the removal of the concrete. And but my understanding is the project is going to proceed.
Okay. So it just is going to take a little bit longer, perhaps, than people think they should.
The city has slowed anything down.
And I think people don't understand that when you're taking down a building, instead of starting right from like fresh, it does take a little bit more time to get that site ready.
Yeah, there could be that, but other aspects, maybe there are negotiations with the franchise holder for the fast food restaurant.
Yeah.
There may be other issues that they're dealing with. I know that since it was formerly used as a gas station, that there were environmental issues, additional environmental testing and so forth.
Right. So we've heard that Scooter Coffee Shop is supposed to be coming to Streator. Do you have any more details?
We were told that if the city awarded the special use permit to allow for the installation of a new billboard, one of the video type billboards that can change, that Scooters would be coming along with the project. I don't believe they've submitted the paperwork yet for building either the billboard or the coffee shop, but we'll wait and see, just like with the Arby's project.
Yep. So not anytime really soon.
Right,
yet.
and again, the city isn't. We've done everything we've been asked to do. It's just a matter of the private sector moving forward.
So can you talk about the other housing grant that was awarded?
The city applied for with significant support from the community through the application process. There were surveys and other public meetings held, and all of that effort, when the community came out, led to a successful application. So we were awarded $650,000 to fund 10+ home remodeling projects. Now, the money typically is used for life safety issues with the house first, but that's still a significant investment for a number of homes in Streator. And what makes this grant different than the first is that anyone within the city limits of Streator can apply. So it's open community-wide, well, city-wide, because the Streator community is bigger than the city of Streator. There will be income requirements. You know, it's a grant that serves low and moderate income households.
But still, I mean, it's a great thing for Streator.
So we're still in the stage where we're submitting paperwork, and there's waiting on the state agencies to submit.
Always paperwork.
Requirement, and so there's always a long period of time between project award and actual project funding.
Takes a long time when you're working with
different
governmental
and again,
aspects.
the city hasn't dragged its heels. We're just waiting for the administrative process to play out. Yeah.
So not too long ago, there was a large grant awarded to the Streator Incubator. Can you give us an update on that?
Yeah, nearly $1 million, and to fund improvements to the building itself. It's an older structure, so a lot of the HVAC will be upgraded and electrical improvements and so forth. But in addition, there's been I forget the dollar amount, but a significant sum set aside for the purchase of equipment that will be available for community use. And the intent is for people that may have an idea with some training to build products, welding, will be woodworking, metal 3D printing. We'll have a community kitchen at some point. And so people could start a business using this facility before they make their own capital investment in their own facility. It's, you know, our future, or our past as a community has been industrial, resource-based originally with coal mining and brick manufacturing, and bottle manufacturing. And, but it's a, you know, we're very much a blue-collar community. That's where we are. We're proud of that history, and there may be someone in the community that has a great idea. They just need a helping hand to get their business off the ground.
Yeah.
And so, with that incubator, will be unlike most other incubators. Most incubators will provide like office spaces and things like that. And this would be a maker's lab where people will actually be able to use the equipment to manufacture products.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool because, you know, when you're trying to start up a business, some of this equipment, I mean, it's very expensive.
Oh.
You know, and you just go, you know, it's hard for a small business.
Well, it's still going to be a challenge
there.
for us because we'll have a significant investment there. We'll need to find someone who's able to manage the day-to-day operation. You know, we have a library in town, but we don't. You know, we also have library staff to make sure that the books don't leave the shelves, if you will, and to manage everything. And so, well, the books leaving the shelves and never coming back.
Yeah, there's a lot
that's
of
the
that.
issue. Yeah, so we want to make sure people are properly supervised and the equipment is being used for its intended use.
So, we've noticed a lot of new blue benches in City Park, the picnic tables, and freshly painted picnic tables too, that add so much more appeal to the already beautiful City Park. Were the new benches donated, do you know?
You know, I don't know what benches you're talking about, and there could have been benches put out that I'm not aware of.
Okay.
I know that I worked with Cinda Bond. She purchased the blue picnic table that was recently placed in by the splash pad in City Park. She picked the color in honor, I believe, of her father, and it was a pretty significant donation.
Yeah, the picnic table is what was in.
Well,
they painted quite a bit.
Yeah,
The
and
other
it's a
ones too.
handicap table, so someone in a wheelchair would have access to the table. So the table top is longer than the bench, so you could roll up a wheelchair. So that's pretty
So
cool.
it's nice because there are people who have mobility needs.
Oh, of
you know,
course,
so
yeah.
that's nice to have something, you know, that they know they could have a picnic there and they can be accommodated, and that's always a good thing.
And if anyone else in the community has a desire to, you know, support the purchase of a table or a bench, let us know, and we can work with you and make that happen.
Yeah, it takes all of us, so, you know, to keep the park nice.
Well, that's what
and
really
functional.
makes Streator different is in most communities, it's all the volunteer spirit here that makes all of our festivals happen. And
Yeah.
and you know, the splash pad itself was a contribution from I think Mr. Deacon and his trust, and our fire station was largely a contribution from a retired firefighter. So, yeah.
We pull together, you know,
Yeah.
Streator really does. So, I guess what I want to ask is, are there going to be new equipment for Marilla Park as well? If you get someone who wants to donate, can we?
Are you talking about playground equipment?
Like the bench, like the table that Cinda Bond donated. Say
Well,
I wanted to
yeah, we'll-
donate that, but out to Marilla.
We're looking at making substantial improvements to all of our parks over the next few years if money allows.
Mm-hmm.
We've already started that process in Marilla with the erection of the shelter. are now developing plans. We're going to go out for bid for another shelter. And council rejected a proposal to erect a kit. It wanted to go out for bid and just and approach it that way, which is fine. It's just going to take a little longer to get it done because we weren't working on that. So you'll see another shelter hopefully this year, maybe early next. We'll see. And there's a small shelter that is being erected at the canoe launch. I'm pointing toward the canoe launch. And I think the high school is working on that project with us and our Public Works Department.
So yes.
And the Public Works Department over the winter months did refurbish a number of and repainted a number of picnic tables.
Yeah, we noticed a lot of them have been repainted.
Yeah.
Out there in the park.
And we'll continue to do that.
And Marilla's always been just a beautiful place. And I about imagine the shelters will have get a lot of use, lots of birthday parties and whatnot.
Yeah.
Out there, reunions, that type of thing, because it is. I mean, all of our parks are beautiful. I mean, that's what I can't. Being from a bigger city, I don't think people understand that we have more green space per person than anywhere else I've been. I mean, we have wonderful parks.
Okay. Yeah, I agree. And they all are a little bit different.
And they are. I mean, there's some that are totally, dedicated to children, and there's some that are a little more of a nature preserve than stylized. But it's it's for everyone, and it's getting. I know City Park is getting a lot of use out of it, quite a bit with the new walking club that we have that's going on. And it's nice to see people out and enjoying, the walking, kind of camaraderie, that type of thing. It's a good thing. It's a great thing. So, now I gotta ask, what is all this road work that's going on? What are they doing?
Well,
out there.
I don't think this year is any different than prior years. We're always, taking our available dollars that are set aside for street improvements and repairing roads, trying to get them to be in a better shape. There's more need than money.
Yeah.
And this year we're doing a couple of streets, LaRue and Grant, just north of the high school. So we have a number of blocks that we're doing. There's still some finishing up work that needs to take place, some additional concrete sidewalk approaches and driveways. A lot of the landscaping needs to be done. I was out there this morning, and they were spreading topsoil to the back of the curbs, trying to make it right. The final lift of asphalt still needs to be installed. We did repave Baker Street over by the school, and later this year we'll be working on, I believe it's 4th Street.
So busy and busy.
Yeah. So it's a busy year.
Yeah.
But over the last year or two, it was 12th Street. We're going to have a grant. We got a grant to fund Iowa. Our engineer was working with DOT today on that project. So we do as much as money allows. There are contractors in town working for 2 different companies to install fiber optics. And so 2 new fiber optic internet services will be made available hopefully within the next year throughout the community. Most of the work is on the north side of town right now. And so there'll be competition for internet. So people who may be dissatisfied with their current provider will have options. And with options, perhaps pricing will come down. Let's cross our fingers. But the city isn't directly involved. We have a regulatory oversight role, but we're not funding the project or managing the contractors.
But competition is always good.
It's always a good thing.
It's always a good thing. So, what is the state of Streator's economy? Like the jobs market, the business growth, and specifically downtown. Are we doing good?
Well, it's difficult to assess because we city governments, particularly governments our size, we rely on the state and federal government for the metrics that we use, and so I don't think there's any studies of Streator economy per se, at least recently. We check every year on employment counts, but that will only be as accurate as the industries will provide. So when we call Factor or other companies and ask for head counts, you know, I assume they're giving us the real numbers. No reason to believe they're not. We make a report about that as part of our annual financial statements that we, our annual audit that we publish every year. Our auditors are currently in town, or currently working on our audit that for our fiscal year that ended the last calendar year. But it'll take a few months to get that document prepared and released. I think the good signs is when we do have a vacancy, like Flinks up on the north side of town, north of Walmart, closed about a year ago, but then a local business, Alloy Specialties, on the east of town toward Dwight, purchased the property and will be using that facility in addition to the facility east of town. So that business is now growing. So there'll be changes in companies opening and closing. That's not unusual. But we don't really have large buildings, industrial buildings that are vacant, which makes it a bit difficult for us in terms of economic development, because a lot of people that want to locate in town or in towns are looking for existing spaces, and we just don't have that.
But it's also nice that there's not a lot of vacant property. You know,
that's exactly right.
You know, they turn it over, you know, pretty quickly. That
yeah.
We don't want empty storefronts or, you know, big empty buildings. You know, that's a good thing. That Streator is attracting businesses to come.
Yeah, the owners of U.S. Truck Body were also the owners of Streator Dependable, and they built the Etcher Glass factory. They closed Streator Dependable, but then expanded their U.S. Truck Body operations to include that facility.
Right. So it's
and
all
so
being
they're
used.
growing within the existing space, which is a great thing.
That's good. Very good. So what concerns you the most about Streator? What concerns you the most about Streator?
Well, I think long-term financial trends. If you just drive around the downtown area with the multi-story buildings, the old Streator National Bank, and that there was a lot more wealth in the community, you know, decades ago than there is today. Even our economic development group, the Chamber IDI committee, has a fair amount of money that they've been able to earn through prior industrial projects. But it was all started with the local institutions in town, local major businesses and banks contributing money. And we did a fundraising drive today for economic development and asked for that. All the banks are owned by, we're all branches of larger banks from outside of Streator, and so that our hospital closed, and it's just a shell, you know, shell of what it once was. And so the resources just aren't here like they were in years past, and particularly decades ago. So that's an issue. I think the trend is such that we've stabilized. I don't think we're continuing to get poor, but you know, knock on wood, you know, the global economy can, you know, we can either provide us with some good news or bad news over the years. Well, I think Streator is a great place to, you know, have a business. I think well, 10 miles away from 2 interstates and a little bit longer from 3. And we're not that far from the largest city in the country. And yeah, I think it's a great location.
Yeah, it's nice to be out, you know,
And the land is cheaper out here, and yeah, quality of life is good.
right, but you're still close enough if you
You're
want that.
close enough, if you want it, you can get it.
Right, exactly, but it's a, you know, when we were looking at places to live, because we moved out of Aurora, we looked at, you know, probably 50 different communities, and we settled on Streator.
Oh, cool.
You know, we wanted something that had lots of green space, a little bit slower, you know, not as much congested traffic, and, you know, we had a list of things we wanted. And Streator kind of just fit the whole bill, and we've been very happy here. And a lot of people, I think, are looking for something, you know, smaller town like Streator, when they retire. We have lots of pretty little homes, you know.
Oh, yeah.
That, you know, aren't a lot of money, you know, that you can retire, you know, to. And wish we still had the hospital, that would have been a plus too, but
Well,
we are close to.
In fairness to OSF, they made a tremendous investment here to provide healthcare options for Streator residents, and so I think we need to be appreciative of that.
Mhm. Yes. You know, it's just a great town. And we've loved it since we moved in, and we just think it's a great town. And I do think it's starting to grow. You know, there's, like I said, a lot of little businesses. We have wonderful festivals.
Yeah.
You know, it's something for everybody here.
Yeah, and I think it's because of the people here,
Yeah.
more than anything else.
Yeah, we kind of have a can-do attitude, you know.
Definitely.
You know, when something happens, we pitch together, you know, whenever, you know, we want to celebrate, we do. You know, we have a can-do attitude. There's not anything that I think that we can't handle.
Yeah.
That's just, you know, that's a great thing to do. So, what gives you the most hope about Streator?
Well, I think the people are just phenomenal here, and the can-do attitude that you mentioned. I think Streator is, you know, come around quite a bit. You look at what's happened just downtown over the past 10 to 15 years, and it was volunteers and people getting together and making a difference. It wasn't, you know, it really came back to life because of the efforts of, you know, the people here. Our mayor was instrumental. She, I think, led the effort to do the Wall Dogs campaign.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, and that was long before she was mayor. So it takes, you know, people to hold the events, the jamming, you know, the Friday night music concerts are a cool thing. And from an outsider perspective, I think that's a neat thing to happen downtown. The Plum Pavilion, the restoration of that was good.
You know, we're starting, you know, pretty soon, we're starting into festival season.
Yeah.
We have our food truck festival coming up pretty soon here in May. You know, I had a whole list of them when we did the news, and it was like one whole page of stuff that is going to be happening here in the city. And it's like, you know, I don't think there's ever been, I mean, Chicago, yes, we'll have something going on every weekend, but we have a lot of different things to do here. You know, even within the area, I mean, and then we have farmers markets are going to start
That's right.
at the beginning of June. So and we just had something in the park. We had the community day from the walking club, and it was I think well attended. There was a lot of people that participated, and that's always good to see. So there's always something. You can't be bored here. Really, you can't. You can't go, oh, there's nothing to do. Oh, there's plenty of things to do from you know, events to, you know, there's always someone doing a painting class, or, you know, there's always something going on here.
Or if you just want to take a walk in the woods, you can
Yep.
head over to Spring Lake or Marilla and just,
Yeah. And there's always, you know, we have some of the most diverse restaurants here. I mean, you name it, you can pretty much get it. As far as food goes.
Well, I know I eat too much, so that's a challenge for me.
Yeah, and the people who took over Mr. J's, I've heard good things about them, about that. And of course, we always have the vault.
Yeah.
That's, I could imagine all the prom participants going to the vault for their big dinner. It would be very nice. Well, we're just about out of time. Is there anything else you want to say?
No, I appreciate the opportunity to be here and look forward to the next time we have a chance to chat.
All right. Thank you, Streator City Manager David Plyman, for talking with us. I am Marjorie Haynes, and thanks for tuning in to the Coffee Club. Bye.
Bye.